Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the May 12th, 2022 meeting of the St. Mary's County Board of Appeals, located in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Meeting Room of the Chesapeake Building, 41770 Baldridge Street, Leonardtown, Maryland. I'm the chairman, Dan Nikniowski, and with 4 other Board of Appeals members, we have met our minimum requirement for a quorum and will proceed with the meeting this evening. Public meetings are now open to the public. In lieu of in-person attendance, citizens may view the meeting remotely on Channel 95 or YouTube. I will open the meeting up for public testimony after all presentations and testimony by the applicant and representatives have been completed. For in-person public testimony, you will be asked to state your name and address for the record, and I will swear you in. You will have 3 minutes to ask your questions or make your comments directly to the board. Your comments will be recorded and heard by those of us in the Chesapeake Building, Zoom participants, Channel 95, and on YouTube. After the public comment portion of the meeting is over, the cases will be returned to the board for any closing comments, discussion, and decision. And I'll ask the board members now to introduce themselves for tonight's meeting. Start with Mr. Payne.
Ronald Payne.
Good evening, Lynn Delahaye.
And again, I'm Dan Nikniowski.
Good evening, Rich Richardson.
And our attorney.
Good evening, Steve Scott, Board Attorney.
And excused for tonight's meeting is Mr. Wayne Medinsky. St. Mary's County supporting staff that is here with us tonight are Bill Hunt, Director of Land Use and Growth Management, Stacy Clements, Planner 3 from Land Use and Growth Management, Sherry Young, Board of Appeals Recording Secretary from Land Use and Growth Management, John Hauser, the Assistant County Attorney, Jim Gotch, Director of DPW. In the video media control room is Amy Carter. And those are those that are with us tonight. Stacy, are we going to do the how to use the
Yes, we
board docs?
most definitely can.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if she's gonna. Okay, first you would like to navigate to stmarysmd.com. That's stmarysmd.com. And along the top ribbon here, you would select the board docs. Once you've selected that, a separate tab will open up, and you will find yourself at this tab, or at this page. In the middle of the page, we will look for tonight's meeting, which is the Thursday, May 12th, 2022 Board of Appeals meeting. We'll select that. And then we want to view the agenda, which the icon for that is in the center of the page. And then once we do that, on the left-hand side, we will find tonight's agenda. You may select one of the hearings, and a new page will pop up, and you can then view the exhibits 1 through 4, or in this case, 5. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
We have 3 public hearing cases on the agenda this evening. Case number 1 is Peel and Evans, VAAP 21-1414. Case number 2 is Bob Hall Property, VAAP 21-1320. And the third case tonight, which will become the first case, is the O'Grady Appeal, ZAAP 21-0058. As I just alluded to, we're going to change the order of the meeting tonight because I understand there'll be a special request for case number 3. And with that, I'll let the applicant's attorney come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is this one? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll step up here. For the record, Chris Longmore on behalf of the applicants, James and Lois Owens tonight. I am here to make a request tonight to continue this hearing. My The appellants, this is an appeal, as I know the board is well aware. Sean and Caitlin O'Grady are here represented by John Quinn, their attorney, who's in the audience tonight. We have communicated before this hearing. We've also had communications with the county attorney office today, and there's been some legal issues that have been raised that we're asking for a continuance so we can do some additional title research on some other similar projects and be able to present this to the board so you'll have, we believe, full and accurate information in making your decision. We've consulted, my understanding is that Mr. Quinn and his clients consent to our request today. I'll certainly let him put that on the record if he chooses to do so. We have consulted with staff and understand that June 16th is available as a follow-up hearing date, and we've confirmed that both parties are available on that night if that date is available for the board. So we would ask for a continuance of this hearing until June 16th or another date that is available for the board. And of course, that would be here in this room in the Chesapeake building at 6:30 p.m. on that night. Thank you.
Mr. Quinn, any comments?
Yes, the Mr. and Mrs. O'Grady consent to the continuance as
Okay.
today.
I guess I will take a motion for a continuance to the date and time specified by Mr.
I'll make the motion.
Longmore.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
I make a motion that we have a continuance to June 15th,
16th.
16th,
16th,
1/6.
June 16th, sorry.
2:30 in this room. Excuse me, 6:30 in this room. I'm retired.
Must be nice. I second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Now, case number 1, which has become case number 2, Peel Evans variance.
Okay.
Have a seat. Before you start, if you would stand and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Jocelyn Evans. My address is 16451 Ballpoint Road, Piney Point, Maryland, 20674.
My name is John Pyle, address 16451 Ballpoint Road, Piney Point, Maryland. Same as
Okay. If you both would raise your right hand. Do you declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony, responses, and statements you may give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Sit down and proceed. Excuse me. We will have the director and our planner, 3, stand up and take the oath also. Do you declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony, responses, and statements you may give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. We'll let them go first and bring it to the board, and then we'll get to you all.
Yep. I'll take care of my presentation, then I'll pull your presentation up. Okay? Okay. There we go. Okay, the second public hearing tonight is variance application 21-1414, the Peel and Evans property. They are requesting a variance from section 71.5.2.b of the comprehensive zoning ordinance to disturb the expanded 100-foot non-tidal wetland buffer to construct a replacement house. The legal advertisement was printed on April 22nd and 29th, 2022 in the Southern Maryland News. Certified mailings were sent to adjacent property owners located within 200 feet of the project property, and a public hearing sign was posted on the property on or before April 27th, 2022. The owners of the property are John Peel and Jocelyn Evans. Pat Mudd is the applicant's agent, and the property consists of 4.46 acres. The property is located at 15977 Camp Maryland Road in Piney Point. It is zoned Rural Preservation District, or RPD. The applicant has proposed to remove the existing house. Okay, and all the wetlands located on site have been confirmed by MDE to be non-tidal. Additionally, There are no non-tidal or no tidal wetlands encroachment in the rear of the lot, right along here, thus setting the 100-foot critical area buffer 100 feet from mean high water. Okay. The applicant is proposing a new two-story house over a carport and storage area. The Critical Area Commission, the Maryland Department of the Environment, Soil Conservation District, METCOM, and Stormwater Management have approved the site plan. And here we have the site plan and the detail. The applicant is proposing to construct a two-story house over a carport and storage area. The proposed house and the addition to the driveway, here's the addition to the driveway right through here, impact the non-tidal wetland buffer. This is the 25-foot non-tidal wetland buffer, and all the non-tidal wetlands are located back through here. Once there's an expansion to the buffer for hydric soils, all the development will then be included in the wetland buffer. Okay, do we have any questions?
You said the Critical Area Commission did not make a comment, or did they make?
No, sir.
No comment whatsoever?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions from board members at this time?
No, sir.
Okay, who's speaking?
I would also like to add, I saw Pat Mudd's name up on the Zoom screen, but I don't see him now, and I wonder if he needs to be sworn
He's on there now.
in for testimony.
There he is.
Yeah.
We can swear them both in. Very good. Mr. Mudd, would you like to raise your right hand? Do you declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony, responses, and statements you may give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Now who's going to proceed?
Okay, thank you.
Here we go. I've loaded the presentation for you.
Thank you. So, good evening. My name is Jocelyn Evans, and this is my husband, John Pyle.
Would you speak in the microphone, please? I'm a little bit hard of hearing.
Sorry,
Thank you.
is that better? We are here this evening to request a variance, as stated, for new construction at the property described. In the following slides, I'm going to describe the property and the proposed construction, and then, as you've seen, Mr. Pat Mudd, who has been assisting us with our permit, is on the phone in case there's any more technical questions than I can answer. By way of introduction, John and I purchased this lot in the summer of 2020 and are hoping to build a home that will be our primary place of residence along with our children. I was born on St. George's Island in my parents' home, I won't say how long ago, and managed to trick John into moving down here about 5 years ago. As I'm sure the board is aware, St. Mary's County has an appeal that makes people want to raise their families here, and we are both grateful for the chance to do so as well. Next slide, please. Okay, this slide just shows a very broad overview of the site. You also kind of saw this earlier. Just one thing I want to point out here is that the lot borders the Potomac River on the southern end. Next slide, please. This is a slightly closer view of the lot. It's kind of pizza slice shaped. It's bordered on the east by Camp Maryland, that's parcel 120, and then on the west by Deep Point, parcel 119, and then on the southern end is the Potomac River. Next slide, please. So the proposed new home that we would like to build, it will be built in adherence to all local and state codes. We picked the most elevated location on the property. It's approximately 4 feet above sea level there. Our goal was to minimize impact to existing large trees and keep the footprint out of the 100-foot critical area buffer. And then, as stated, we received all the approvals necessary on the Trackit site. I also want to note that we are working with a Mr. Mark Cullison as our builder. He has experience building properties affected by critical area, and he has built several properties on the island in recent years. So we're pretty confident that he knows what he's doing. And we chose the location very carefully, both because of the delicate nature of the environment and to maintain the beauty of the existing land. Next slide, please. So this is kind of a close-up view of where the existing house sits and the location of the proposed construction. The existing house, as stated, will be demolished as part of this appeal. The site is constrained by non-tidal wetlands to the west and north, the Potomac River to the south, and then also the property boundary to the west. Due to these constraints, we kind of picked this location as what we see is really the only viable location for building the house on this site. Also of note here, we do not want to use the existing footprint of the house there. It's kind of hard to see in this picture, but it pretty much sits right on top of non-tidal wetlands and the critical area buffers. So we're trying to move as far as we can away from both of those constraints. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is kind of an aerial view. This is from over the river facing the property. That's the existing house there, and the arrow is pointing to the proposed development site. There is a very healthy natural buffer already on the property. We are trying to minimize impact to that as much as possible. Next slide, please. Here's some more pictures of the proposed construction site, which also tries to avoid removal of most of the large, well-established trees. Next slide, please. This is another close-up view of the existing structure. It was built in the 1950s and has weathered Hurricane Isabel and Tropical Storm Ernesto. It didn't weather them very well, as you can tell. You can see the phragmites kind of behind the house there. That's where the non-tidal wetland begins. Next slide, please. And just some more views of the existing structure. Next slide, please. We thought these pictures might help illustrate just the width of the beach here on the property. This was taken during the winter, obviously, because you can see the snow on the beach, and although tides tend to be lower in the winter, when we get the strong northwesterly breezes, this gives a general idea of where the median high tide sits. As part of this construction, we will be trenching a sewer line again along the existing driveway to connect to public sewer. Back when the island was originally connected to public sewer, this lot was granted 1 EDU, but the owners at the time just never connected it. And then moving on to the site plan. Next slide, please. So the next two slides show the plan in its entirety. A little too small for me to really read here, but what I wanted to point out here is that the sediment and erosion control plans have been approved. For rainwater control, we will be using a gutter system and rain garden. And as stated before, almost the entirety of lot, except for where the current and proposed structures sit, is non-tidal wetland. Next slide. I don't have anything to point out on this slide. Next slide, please. This is the last one. MDE conducted a total of 3 site visits to Miko Camp, and then Greg Koleric also came down. We obtained approval from them for disturbance of wetlands back in January. And that's all I have except for backup. Are there any questions?
What is the square footage of the footprint?
So the existing house is about 1,000 feet. If you need numbers, I don't have exact numbers. The existing structure is about 1,000 feet. The proposed structure is about 1,500 feet plus deck.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions? In that case, I will open it up to public testimony. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for or against the project? And are we doing phones?
No, sir.
No phones.
No phones.
I'll close the meeting to public testimony and ask the board for any discussion on the project.
I have no problem with it.
I like it.
Yeah, everything's, getting MDE approval was a big step,
Yes, sir.
and, good luck.
I'll take a motion then.
Let's see, I'll make the motion. In the matter of VAAP number 21-1414, having made a finding that the standards for granting a variance and the objectives of section 24.3 of the St. Mary County's comprehensive zoning ordinance have been met, I move to approve the variance request from section 71.5.2 to disturb the non-tidal wetland buffer to construct the single-family dwelling.
A second?
I have a motion and a second.
Second. Aye.
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 Sorry about that. So we've now had the public testimony, and I've got one other little item to give you in the matter of VAAP 21-1414, having made a finding that the standards for the granting of the variance and objectives of section 24.3 of the St. Mary's County Comprehensive Ordinance have been met. The item has been approved, and I would just like to remind you that an order reflecting the board's decision will be prepared by staff and signed by the board within 60 days. A 30-day period follows from that date in which any aggrieved party may appeal the decision to the circuit court. The recording secretary will email you a copy of the order once it has been completed. Good presentation, and good luck to you all.
Thank you.
Have you been down to your property today? We've had very, very high tides.
Yeah, we know.
Very, very high tides.
We tied all our boats down.
Okay. Good
Nice
luck.
job.
Thank you.
Yeah, the tides are very, very high the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Extremely high.
Storm out in the ocean. The next case we will have tonight will be the Bob Hall property, VAAP 21-1320, and I would,
Yes, the applicant, Mr. Bond, is with us via Zoom tonight.
okay, very good.
Okay.
Good evening. Stacy, you've been sworn in, so if you'd go through the presentation for the case.
Yes, sir. Okay, here we go. Okay. The third public hearing tonight is variance application 21-1320. The property of the Bob Hall Irrevocable Trust. They're requesting a variance of section 71.8.3 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to disturb the critical area buffer to construct an addition onto the existing house. The legal advertisement was printed in the April 22nd and 29th, 2022 in the Southern Maryland News. Certified mailings were sent to the adjacent property owners located within 200 feet of the project property, and a public hearing sign was posted on the property on or before April 27th, 2022. The owner of the property is the Bob Hall Irrevocable Trust. It consists of 96.4 acres. It is located, or the property is located at 22410 Bushwood Road in Bushwood. It is zoned RPD, or Rural Preservation District. And as I stated before, the property consists of 96.94 acres and has an existing home on it and several outbuildings. The critical area buffer is set 100 feet from mean high water line of the tidal waters of the Potomac River. And the property is impacted by hydric soils, and thus the critical area buffer would be expanded to 300 feet, which would encompass the whole property, or encompass up to 300 feet. Okay. Slide 10 depicts the current conditions of the existing home located on the property. The applicant is proposing to build within the 100-foot critical area buffer a 144 square foot living room addition over the existing deck and removing the remaining 64 square feet of the deck. In the expanded buffer, they're proposing a 168 square foot bedroom addition and a 24 square foot porch addition. The permit has been approved for stormwater management, soil conservation district due to less than 5,000 square feet of soil disturbance, and the Critical Area Commission asked for buffer mitigation if the board grants the variance. Okay. We have the site plan. And the site plan detail depicts the applicant's proposal of the living room, and then the bedroom addition, and then the rear porch entry. The mitigation for this proposed project would be 4,544 square feet, which would include mitigation for permanent and temporary disturbance to the buffer. A minor buffer management plan for on-site plantings in the buffer must be approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. Do I have any questions?
Any questions from the board members? Mr. Hall, are you ready to start?
Mr. Bond is here. Would you like to swear him in?
Sure. If you'd raise your right hand, sir. Do you declare and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony, responses, and statements you may give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay. Hold on just a moment, Mr. Bond, and we'll get your, there we go. Can you see the presentation, Mr. Bond?
Perfectly. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
My name is Tom Bond. I'm representing my wife's family. She's one of 9 children. Together, they are what is referred to as the Bob Hall Irrevocable Trust. It's basically 9 children that own this house together and their families, and they find, a useful, a pleasant way of using the house shared among them for weekends, primarily in the summer. But the goal with this addition renovation is to make the house more four-season as opposed to currently. It's really a summer use and maybe expanded into the spring and fall. I grew up in St. Mary's County on the Patuxent River. Having married my wife, I've grown to enjoy sort of the Potomac River side of St. Mary's County. They're very different, and this is also very different from the lay of the land as we just saw in Piney Point and St. George's Island. So all that said, it's been a really nice opportunity to help my wife's family come up with a plan for how to do this. I'm an architect by profession. I really don't do residential architecture too much. I really work in the commercial space more so than residential. But since I'm family, they said you can do this for free for us. So so first I'd like to kind of introduce the property as you saw on the site plan, and we'll pull it up again. This is a picture from the front yard, and to the left is the water. To the right is a strawberry field that's done by the local farmer who is a tenant farmer who basically takes care of the land as a lease. And that's the house in the middle of the picture, and you can see the car. That's the driveway coming up to the house. So the site plan on the next slide is the 96 acres or so of the farm. It is, and along the left-hand side, obviously, is the Wycomico River. Along the top is adjacent to Ocean Hall Manor, occupied by and lived in by Dr. Boyd and Jennifer Boyd. That was originally part of this property. That was broken off and sold to them, I believe, back in the 80s, and it's a beautiful house today, as most people know it. Top right is Bushwood Warp Road, and then as you kind of go to the right side where it's a straight line, and then a straight line across, and a straight line down, those are adjacent farm properties. The major square in the bottom right-hand corner, I believe, is Tanglewood, owned by Eddie Bailey. So, and along the left side, those properties are accessed off of, I forget the other name of the road that goes back, I think it's White Neck or White Point Road. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, so I not be able to be there today, plus last Saturday I tested positive for COVID, so it was very nice that you guys are able to accommodate this through a Zoom presentation. Next slide. Oh, so first of all, back to the driveway, and Stacy, if you'd kind of follow it, from Bushwood Warp Road, kind of comes in, then makes a very hard right turn and goes directly toward the water. And at the end of the driveway is the house structure. And on the way to the house, you pass 2 large barns and some other smaller outbuildings that are used by the farmer. Next, also on the side, I think it's worthy of noting, you see in the bottom left along the water, there's two ponds. On this plan, there are 2 ponds, but today existing, only the long pond exists. The other pond, due to erosion along the waterfront, basically allowed that pond to not be there anymore. And that's why I'm about to kind of go through a series of slides showing you what the family is in the process of doing. It's actually already completed. And that's shoreline protection along that entire waterfront from the house all the way to the end of the property. I think the next slide will show that. Oh, so actually the reason we're here today is because the existing house at the end of the long driveway does fall within the 100-foot critical area buffer. You can see at the bottom, it's the deck is in, and then on the top, that's the front corner of the house is also in, just by the way that the water line parallels through the house. We'll get into the plan of what we're going to do there, but I just wanted you to see kind of roughly why we're in the critical areas, because it's an existing house and it is where it is. Next slide. In front of the house again, which is the yellow dot in the middle, is already shoreline protection that was done in the early 80s. The family, as you can see, that pond that I showed you, the 2 ponds, you can see that the one is still there. The other one collapsed toward the river, and therefore it isn't there anymore. So now it's really more like a bit of, I'm not sure if this is the right term, but tidal wetland. And so the next slide is going to show what the family has done. Well, that's kind of the shoreline before we started the shoreline protection, and kind of what happens with the battering of, rising tides and other things. And so the next slide now will show you the work that's being done by Cauliflower and Peterson. This is just, in this plan, you can see the top right is where the house is and where the existing shoreline protection is. The dark line is 500 feet of the 1,500 feet of new shoreline protection that was completed last fall. This 500 feet ends at the pond that used to be, because they didn't want us to put shoreline protection there. They would rather have the water be able to come up into, and basically what was a pond on land is now part of the tidal, estuary. I'm not a expert on how this works, but it makes perfect sense. So there's a break. Next slide shows, I believe, actually this is a kind of a blow up of, again, this where the house is and the shoreline protection that's already there. And then to the bottom is just that section that we just talked about. Next slide. Again, I already kind of talked you through where we're standing here with the water to the left and the fields to the right. Next slide. So you can just barely see the house in the distance, just to the left of the yellow piece of equipment. This is the new shoreline protection that's being done by Cauliflower and Peterson under a separate permit. And this is the first 500 feet that was done between the house and the pond that collapsed. And then there's another 1,000 feet that continues along the shoreline. The next slide will show, I think, a few more pictures of right here to the right of the trees is the pond that's still there. It was getting close to caving in itself. That's why it was prudent for us to go ahead and make the financial investment in getting this done so that that pond would be saved. And that pond is critical for the farmer's ability to irrigate and make a successful operation of a farm here. But I don't know, Chris Cullens is the one who does the farming on the property, and he does an excellent job. Next shot, I think, is one more picture of shoreline protection. Next slide. So this kind of gets into what Stacy had nicely colored in her presentation. I'll use what I did here, and I'll point out first the footprint of the existing house, which is kind of the double blue line, and I think most of you can probably see it, and Stacy's probably outlining it. It's a 24-foot wide by 40-foot original structure with a 10-foot deck out to the front, and then a set of steps that are on the deck out toward the water, and then the where you see the steps on the back, that's a lean-to porch that's off of the 24 by 40 structure out toward the strawberry field, as I've already described it, and then a screen porch on the front, the bottom corner as in the plan here. So there's new interior space that are highlighted in the hatch. I'll start with the top. That's a 7-foot bedroom addition. Basically, it's 7 foot off of the structure, 24 feet wide as the same dimension as the house. That way, the same roof line matches up with the roof line of the existing structure. So that's area addition number one. The second addition on the right, where those stairs are, is a small addition onto the entry kitchen area, and that will have a new set of stairs and a small addition there. And then the one that is probably most interesting to you here today is the 6-foot living room addition on the front, which is 6 foot building out onto the existing 10-foot deck that's there. Obviously, if I could add living space to the house, someplace that wouldn't be in the 100-foot buffer, I would. But given that the living room is on the front of the house and there's really no way to go out but there onto the deck to make that room more pleasant and usable. And when I say more pleasant and usable, these numbers are pretty specific because all of these areas, 7 by 24, the 6 by 24, the 14 by 3 foot addition on the other side add up with the existing. And then a second floor expansion of the bedroom over the kitchen area that's on the bottom side of the drawing to just under 2,000 square feet. It's 1,990 square feet, which keeps it under the threshold that I was given as advice to not go if you don't want to have to deal with changing your septic and your drain fields, which in this drawing would be pretty much off to where it says the 6-foot living room addition. That's pretty much where the drain fields are, or where the septic tank is, and the drain fields kind of move up toward where it says the bedroom addition. So those are the new areas. And then there's the two areas that Stacy mentioned on both sides of that stairway going up to the new living are part of the deck that I don't think really service at all going forward. And I would just propose that we just have a stairway up to a landing going into the front of the house and that area go away. So that's kind of the extent of what we're proposing to do and how it impacts our critical area. The next slides are really just pictures from around the property. So this is taken from where we park our cars, and you can see clearly the house is here. The porch, the lean-to porch on the left, with the current walk-up stairway to get onto that porch and then into the structure. The beautiful day, obviously, you can see the the Wicomico River, but also on the left side, if you look out, you're looking across, all the way across the Potomac River to Stratford Cliffs. So really, next slide is a slide, I believe, from the front porch. Not quite as pretty a day, and not a beautiful tree there that has been suffering from just dying a slow death. And probably as part of this process, we'll request that it come down because it's really not in good shape, and that we will obviously have other restoration of mitigating plannings to do. But this is just giving you a sense of the view out toward Cobb Island and off to the left toward Virginia. This pretty much looks out directly toward Cobb Island. Next slide. This is from the front yard. The dead tree or the nearly dead tree is on the right of the picture, just barely out of the picture. This is looking down the shoreline toward Ocean Hall Manor, and then the buildings you see along the shoreline are Quaid's store and the public landing there. So you can see that we're considerably higher elevation here than other properties in the southern part of the county. Next slide. From the front yard looking to the house with the deck, and you can see down the driveway, those are the barns that are for the farmer's use. Next, there's two more slides now of the front of the house. So again, the tree on the left that's not surviving or not doing too well. But that's a view from the front, and you can see the strawberries off to the right under the tree, and then one more shot moving around to the right. And that would conclude my presentation and a request that we'd be able to do this minor expansion of the house to make it much more livable and someplace that we can use year-round rather than just in the summer.
Any questions from the board members?
Yes, what is the size, the square footage of the current house?
I've got that right here, and it's about 1,200 square feet. And so the total expansion is another 700 square feet, 700 plus.
So what's
getting us right up to
what's the footprint of it? What's the square footage of the footprint?
So I'd have to do a quick math, but it's 24 by 40 is the main block. If you want to go back to the slides, 24 by 40, and then the porch, 24 by 40 is the main block plus 24 by 10, which is the deck. That's actually, the deck goes all the way across the front of the block plus the porch, so it's another 12 feet. And then it's 12 feet by 26 plus 10, so 36. That's the total area of the footprint that was outlined in the blue.
So what's the total
if you want to
area
go
again?
back to the...
What's the total area again?
I have to get a calculator out. I don't have it in front of me, but I can do the math
Well,
real quick.
on the paperwork I have, it says 1,300 square feet.
Okay.
Does that 1,300 square feet include the porch?
Let me do a couple of quick 24 times 40 equals, that's 960. And then the deck is on 240. And then the porch, so the answer to your question is the 1,300 includes the porches because the main block is the 24 by 40. That's basically what's interior today. The rest is either porch or deck.
Okay, so if the 1,300 includes the porch, the only addition then is the bedroom as far as the footprint.
That's right, outside of the footprint, yes, because the other addition's part of the existing footprint.
Okay.
And the stairs on the front.
Anything being done to the second story?
Second story, where you saw the porch in the last slide, there over the porch, we would be adding a room that is, I've got it right here, a 217 square foot bedroom over top of the porch. And that porch is being enclosed to become a kitchen space because the current house has a very, very insufficient kitchen.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions from the board members?
Yeah, I had one. If you show the front of the house from the water,
From the one, yep. I
okay.
can do it, hold on.
All right.
Is that what you're looking at?
It shows to the, as I'm looking at it, to the right side, it's a door there for the screen porch.
That's right.
Okay. Well, if you're going to tear out those two places next to you, how do you access that?
So that would then be accessed from the inside of the house.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be, that space that you see there back beyond a little bit, not right up where the door is, but that would be basically enclosed to become kitchen space adjacent to the living space, which was behind those sliding glass
Yes,
doors.
yeah, in the back. I was just, so, where does that door take you? If you can't,
That screen door just goes onto an existing porch.
right.
There you go, yep.
But
So
you,
that's all
but-
porch.
But you can't access it from the main. If
So you would access it from the interior.
Inside, okay, all right.
In the future, right.
All right, that's fine, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions from the board?
No, sir.
In that case, I'll open the meeting up to public testimony. Is there anybody who would like to speak for or against this project? I'll close the meeting to public testimony and open it up for board discussion.
Well, when he answered my question about the square footage, I was happy to hear that the square footage included the deck. So the only addition, is square footage-wise, is the bedroom.
Right, and which is already there.
Yeah. So we're only, if the
Yeah.
square footage is very small.
Right.
Any other questions
I'm
from
fine
the board members?
No.
No, I'm good with it.
We have a motion.
Yes, sir, I'll do it. In the matter of VAAP number 21-1320, having made a finding that the standards for granting a variance and the objectives of section 24.4 of the St. Mary's County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance have been met, the board moves to approve the variance request for section 71.8.3 to disturb the critical area buffer to constitute an addition of the existing home.
Do we have to put in the request from the Critical Area Commission on the buffer or the mitigation that they wanted? We have to put that into this?
I don't think so. I think the testimony had referred to their approval of the project, and that's a condition of their approval.
Okay.
So I wouldn't,
Correct, the mitigation would be required by the statute,
Right.
so you're okay there.
But we don't have to put it into?
No, no,
Okay.
you don't have to.
do I have a
I
second?
second it.
All those in favor? Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Len?
Aye.
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 Okay, we have an order, an approval for you all. An order reflecting the board's decision will be prepared by staff and signed by the board within 60 days. A 30-day period follows from that date the order is signed, during which any aggrieved party may appeal the board's decision to the circuit court. The recording secretary will email a copy of the order when it has been signed. Good presentation and good luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
And get well.
Thank you.
We have two other items. We have the minutes of the last meeting, and I believe they were all sent out in our packages, and you should have time to review it. Are there any questions or changes to those?
No, sir.
Motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and then we have a set of orders, which are with you. I think they were at your place tonight for the approval of the Loveville gravel mine that we heard last month, April 21st, 2022, in which we approved the project with several conditions. And I would like a motion for the chairman to sign that set of orders.
Make a motion to sign the Cheney orders.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 You will. Before we dismiss, can I pick on Sherry for a second?
You can pick on me. Oh, go ahead.
The next, we had some discussion before the meeting about training and whatnot.
Yes, we are trying to get some training. And while the meeting was going on, I did get an email. So our one from DPW, they would like to do some training in the fall instead of in June. So we have June 30th for sure is going to be training. And it'll be like we've done before in here where you open up and then you close, but everything will be recorded. And that way, if somebody isn't able to be here, they can watch the training still. And we are still trying to get for June 23rd, a couple of the other items.
So we're working on it. And if we approve these early enough, we might get a dinner?
Well, we're working on it, two of them there. And also, if you have any more questions, if you can email those to me for Heather Moritz to be working on for her presentation on the 30th.
She's with the Health Department. I guess she'll talk about wells and...
Yes, she's taken in the two questions that you guys had already given me, so I sent that to her. And we'll be, any other questions that you have between now and then, just email it to me.
Any other questions, comments, concerns for the good of the cause?
One comment, the one that was delayed to the 16th of June, I expect I'll be out of town the 16th of June.
I may not be here either, so we'll see.
Well,
That could be a four. They may do that one again. We'll have to see how things go.
So you'll need Mr. Payne to cover for you?
Right.
Okay, so we're on the record for that. Are you able to do that, Mr. Payne?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Anything else for the good of the cause?
Well, sir.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. Good meeting.
Thank you.